Today, we're diving into some eye-opening news from California, where cannabis tax revenues have dropped for the fourth consecutive year. According to the Cannabis Tax and Fee Administration, the numbers tell a concerning story. In the second quarter of 2024, California's cannabis tax revenue fell to $263.1 million, down from $361.4 million in Q2 2021. That's a staggering decline of nearly a third. We're also seeing total taxable cannabis sales following suit, dropping from $1.5 billion in Q2 2021 to just $1 billion this year. So what's behind this trend? Heavy regulations and fierce competition from unregulated markets and hemp-derived THC products are largely to blame. Earlier this month, Governor Gavin Newsom took action to address the issue by introducing emergency rules aimed at banning the sale of intoxicating hemp products. The idea here is to ensure that all hemp-derived products sold in California have no detectable amount of total THC. This is a move, he says, is crucial for preventing children from getting their hands on these potentially dangerous products. And there's more on the legislative front. Just last week, as state lawmakers approved a bill to allow cannabis consumption lounges. However, this proposal is also facing some challenges, as the governor previously vetoed a similar measure. Here's the big question. What does this mean for the future of California's cannabis industry? Are these tax declines a sign of struggling market, or could they indicate a shift in consumer preferences? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts as we unpack this issue. I think it should be interesting. I mean, we'll see. Are things going outside of the regulated market? Are they having to, are we selling things in different ways that maybe aren't so taxable? I'd love to throw this back to you guys. I'm going to be filing some quarterlies today, a little late, but getting them in. So CDTFA is fresh on my mind today. I want to hear what you guys think.
Jenny Beth, I think right off the bat, I think it's a multitude of issues. Number one, yeah, people are going into the trap. The shit costs too much. Number two, we've had so many shops just shut down, right? Obviously, I can't name numbers exactly. We can talk about my clients or whatever, but we've had a slew of specifically single location operators just all going out of business. So there's like less people operating, period. Everything's fucked up here. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough out there. It is rough. It's
California didn't design this to be successful. That's the problem from the gate. It was overtaxed and overregulated, and there were too many loopholes for people to take weed out into the black market. And we've been circling the drain here for years. Mm-hmm. And I'm not surprised. And it would be nice if these legislators could get their head out of their ass long enough to go look for reasonable solutions. Like, well, I think we need to get rid of this local control thing here in California 100%. And let it be treated more like alcohol, where you can actually get a license to dispense without local jurisdictions jamming you up for years.
We need to eliminate the excise tax too, and a few other things.
Yeah, eliminate the tax.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, they need to realize that it's really, at the end of the day, it's a volume game. If they, first of all, let's be very clear. The reason for legalizing cannabis should not be to generate tax revenue. That should not be the primary purpose of it, which it has been treated that way in many states, and that's one of the most critical problems. But realistically, they can maybe make more money in the long run by issuing more licenses, reducing the taxes on it so it actually competes with the trap market, and people have an incentive to go into a retail store and pay reasonable retail sales tax on it. Mm-hmm. And I think in the long run, they're going to end up getting more benefit from that and potentially raise more tax revenue.
Operators have an incentive to keep their product in the licensed market as opposed to whatever else they might be doing with it. I don't know.
Yeah, lo and behold, Gavin Newsom killed the legal cannabis game, and he's also looking to kill off the hemp game too. Like shit ain't looking good for him.
Look at that. It's true. That is.
Well, nobody talks about what it costs to enforce all these laws against cannabis.
Way too much.
They sell this as a money generator, a tax generator, but they don't talk about, well, how much are we spending to go out and enforce against this? Yep. Because if you open the legal market up, those costs go away, but they're kept hidden in secret. And when you bring the cops in to ask about policy decisions, they want to continue to enforce because that's their game. Mm-hmm. They get paid to enforce.
That's right.
So we need better leadership in this, no doubt about it. But people who understand, you keep doing the same damn thing expecting a different result. That's just a diagnosis of insanity. This has got to have a fresh approach to it.
The bigger the bust, the bigger the boost, Dale.
Yeah. Well, it's a selling point to the cops. I mean, right now they can't even recruit cops because the beat cops that I know, they don't want to fuck with weed. They don't care about it. They got violent criminals they're concerned about, and someone smoking a joint, they don't have time for that stuff. It's the higher ups that make policy that continue the money come in from the state and federal government to enforce against weed. They don't want that gravy train to go away. Mm-hmm. It's their job. So,
and let's be real about that cannabis enforcement too. Is like no street cops have really ever cared about that. They've used it as a premise to target certain people. Right. If they don't like the way you look and they want to fuck with you and you're smoking a joint, then they'll do it. But if they don't, then they won't say shit. You go about your day.
Yep.
I have friends who are cops and their family members smoke weed. Okay, so they're not concerned about it at the street level. They have to deal with it from the policy level. When the sergeant tells you got to go out and go after this trap shop, they do it. But the costs of enforcement are just astronomical, and no one ever brings that into the equation here. And I think it should be brought into the discussion because this can get better, and I think Stevie Wonder can see the ways to make it better. They just don't want to do it.